Hey One Tree Hill fans, welcome back. Today we are delving in to Season 3, Episode 11, Return of the Future. Ooh, basketball is a team game. There is no I-N-T. Team. Yes. You know what? Even when Whitey yells, it's still great. I assume you morons can spell. I love him. A preemptive scrunchie. And yeah, the cheeriness would end after you lose, but like Haley said, Nathan needs consoling. And of course, Brooke has to stay at Lucas's, but she's okay with that until she remembers, oh yeah, Karen. I'm sorry, she didn't remember it. Peyton reminded her. Love sucks. Oh my god, did anybody else just go, ugh, when Nathan walked out and saw Dan? And then that whole conversation about putting that in his head that Haley would try to get pregnant. Like, oh my god. Dan, you truly do excel at ruining everything. Okay, I seriously was expecting Nathan to say no to Haley's invite to come over that night, and I'm so glad he didn't because I just don't want Dan getting into his head. Oh, I forgot that Keith comes back, and the first one to see him is Brooke, and she's like, okay, I guess slumber party's over. Gonna give you boys some ketchup time. You know, Keith makes a good point. Lucas did keep the Jules secret for 2 months, but everybody seems to know that he pulled Dan out of the fire. He's like, brave, but stupid. Yeah, no kidding. That is like the biggest bowl of mac and cheese like ever. And it was kind of cute when Peyton walks into her room and sees Ellie, and she's like, it's odd. This is odd, right? This is odd having someone here, but a good odd. So I guess Dan did get into Nathan's head. He's looking for birth control, I guess. Finding Brooks, of course. Awkward. Who submitted Brooks' designs to Rogue Vogue? She thinks it's Lucas. Is it Lucas? I honestly don't remember. Okay, Haley is not that kind of girl, Nathan. You should know her well enough to know that. Your dad is in your head, completely living rent-free right now. And seriously, she made a mistake. They're teenagers. People make mistakes. But to think she did it on purpose? It's just not cool, bro. Oh, is this when Whitey takes the guys to the really crappy gym because they're losing, and he's like, 5 a.m. comes really early when you're 0-2. Even when he's being grumpy and mean, I still love him. Ooh, that old gym is a literal rat hole, and Whitey is having too much fun with this. Can't play in a gym with his name on it, because you disgrace him so. Brooke will have her letters back, no matter what. I love that she left a mess in his room, and Lucas is like, I'll clean it up. Okay, the whole conversation between Haley and Brooke about the birth control was really great. And it was a little eye-opening for Haley. Because Brooke's like, well, if you didn't stop him and you knew you weren't on birth control, maybe you kind of wanted that at some level. Ooh, real talk. Oh my god. Okay, so I am happy that Keith is back, but seriously, okay, Karen's reaction to seeing him dropping the coffee pot, that was great. But seriously, the first words out of her mouth were, you shouldn't have come back. And I know she goes on to talk about how Dan still thinks that he tried to kill him. But though that is foreshadowing, people, you shouldn't have come back. And that's what makes it so bittersweet, because it's like, oh, okay, it's sweet, it's nice, but oh god, we know what's going to happen. So like, no. Keith is so hopeful. I'm going to straighten everything out with Dan. Ugh, just bittersweet. Nathan walked out on Whitey. Walked out on the team. Okay, that line was really good. When Keith goes into Dan and Dan's like, I see you finally grew a pair. Oh, I always had a pair, Danny. Just ask your wife. Oh my god, Dan is still trying to say, oh, you bought a bottle of booze, so that means you tried to kill me, even though he knows Deb did, because he wants to hold everything over everyone. And then Keith is all like, oh, if you touch Lucas again, you'll wish I did kill you. I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying, Keith, but that could kind of be incriminating. Oh my god, that whole interaction between Nathan and Dan. Oh, why did you change the locks? Yeah, I changed the alarm code too. I'm better off without you. At least your father checks in, unlike your mother who left. It's like, It was like this back and forth of almost like 1 minute he cares, 1 minute he's being a jerk, and I can get the offer back on the table, and then like, oh, you're right, you should be determining your future, not me, not your mother, not your wife. By the way, does she look like she's put on weight? Like, oh my God. He's so good at this role. I feel like I really kind of blocked out the whole Andy leaving and then Keith coming back to, and then him and Karen getting together, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, I feel like I might have blocked that out because it's just so painful what comes later. But the moments they have are sweet, but it's still bittersweet for me. Okay, can we just appreciate how hard they were throwing that ball at each other, Keith and Lucas, and having that little heart-to-heart, like, father-son moment kind of thing, even though it is uncle and nephew. Ellie is very slick with her way to get into the back door of the concert. And Peyton had her success with talking to the band manager. Wow, that was like... Lucas and Brooke are like, ooh, listening at the door. Haley and Nathan are arguing. Dude, Haley did throw some good points. I mean, Nathan is really letting his dad get to him here. I mean, the fact that he thinks that Haley would do that is kind of a testament to maybe he doesn't know her as well as he thinks. But yeah, that put some emotion when Haley stormed out. So Nathan and Haley fighting kind of stopped Lucas and Brooke's night of making back up, but it got them to have a good conversation, and that's good. But again, it's so bittersweet for me because it's like Lucas just said, I won't hurt you again. Ugh. Very nice moment between Peyton and Ellie, although when Peyton's cell phone rang while she's driving, she looked at the phone a little too long, I thought, for the driving sequence. Ooh, Lucas telling Nate about him and Brooke's previous pregnancy scare. I forgot that happened. I feel like Dan and Whitey have a really good, I feel like they always had fun with their scenes. They're so vicious with each other, and Dan's trying to take Nathan out of the crap hole gym, and here comes Nathan. He's back on the team, and Whitey's like, all right, good man. Get out of my crap hole, Danny. Okay, so I forgot that Keith was kind of, knowing everything that Deb did with trying to kill Dan from the start. Like, I forgot that he's obviously one that she called that night. He's on to me or whatever. Now, he's telling Karen all this, and now Karen knows that Deb tried to kill Dan. But what gets me is Karen's reaction. She almost seems like really shocked and almost like judgy on this. She's like, and I'm just surprised because she's always kind of been like, hey, let's get rid of Dan, so it's kind of surprising. They did a good job on cleaning up that court, and now the Scott brothers are finally working back together again, even if just for a moment. And here comes Haley, gonna do the benefit for Peyton, get back out there. It's like Karen was trying to have real talk with Lucas about be careful physically and with your heart, and then he schools her on you gotta sometimes give yourself what your heart deserves, Mom. Yes, Nathan, if you don't want to be like Dan, then don't be like Dan. And I'm really glad that he went and talked to her because that is major progress. I like Ellie saying to Peyton, you should be bouncing off your artistically angry walls. That's right, it was Rachel that got the Brooke's designs into Rogue Vogue, and then she's like, so thanks, I guess. And of course when Brooke walks away, Rachel goes, no, thank you, I forget what that means. Oh, Karen giving her declaration to Keith is emotionally beautiful, but it's still bittersweet. I know, I'm gonna say that a lot. I'm just telling you. Okay, the irony of this is that Karen's like, I'm going to stop letting things get in the way. And then they're kissing, and here come the police to arrest Keith for the attempted murder of Mayor Dan Scott. And the cop is sitting there smiling at Dan, and Dan's smiling at Karen. And Karen's looking like, I'm going to kill you myself. But it's like, okay, so continuity issue here. Or, why did he have the cops go to Karen's house? He had just literally come over there because she called him, so that's kind of funny. I mean, I know why for the storytelling, but, it's kind of funny because in the real world, that really probably wouldn't fly.
Okay, so my thoughts on the podcast for episode 11. I didn't think this was trash. I thought it was just kind of like the classic nighttime soap kind of trope, you know? Um, I love that Hillary and Sophia talked to their husbands about the douche canoe that tried to play Joy. That guy very much lied. He was very deceptive. And I do kind of hope that it makes the news and that his fiance finds out and takes him like for everything he's worth. While it is gross that Nathan bought into Dan's narrative, I kind of think that that also speaks to how good Dan is to getting into people's heads. But everything that Haley combated Nathan on was absolutely stellar. And yes, it is true that women do about 99.9% of the heavy lifting when it comes to having a kid. So, excuse you indeed, sir. I do think it's great that Haley and Brooke had such a good, open, honest talk about the sex and protection, but then it's on the flip. You see the guys being mainly concerned about sports. It's like, oh, okay. I personally liked that Keith was cleaned up. I think it was more symbolic than anything. I think I've mentioned it before, but I definitely didn't like Lucas in this episode. Um, Lucas was kind of hard to swallow in the last several episodes, but then again, it's tainted with the whole Brooke and him should not have gotten back together, in my opinion. And Dan, I think, was so good at playing the bad guy because he owned it. And I definitely think Rachel was a little bit obsessed with Brooke. And I did think it was a little funny when Brooke kind of launched into Keith's arms when he was back. I thought that was kind of funny, but it was cute. And congrats to the contest winner. That's going to be such a special trip. I can definitely agree that I kind of think Haley should have stayed on tour, and regardless, the conversation that her and Nathan had that time definitely should have been different. And Peyton and Lucas absolutely should have made at least a couple of guest appearances in different times as the show progressed when they weren't officially on it. I'm wondering where the pictures are of Sophia's wedding because Lee Norris just sounds like the life of the party, and I love that that one of their songs is "I Want to Dance with Somebody" and that they actually record singing it and send it to each other. Like that would be funny to watch, but I have a feeling that will never get out. Sophia said she would never let that get out. Wilmington really sounds fun. Like, I never really thought I would ever want to maybe visit there, but like, they make it sound like such a fun place. And I think the contest winner is going to have an awesome time. And I think it's really cool that they get to share their trip on the Drama Queen's Instagram. That is just kind of like a bonus prize. I think the lessons are definitely that forgiveness is a real struggle, especially when it's yourself. And feelings certainly are not facts. And don't forget who helped you get where you are. Don't forget who got you there, because I wish more women friends would kind of do that because as they progress in life, because it doesn't really happen a lot. That's it for me. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe. I'll see you next week.